Lately, fragments of a question keep finding me, whispering in quiet moments, tugging at me. Who am I? I could tell you my name, Rashidat. I'm a mother, a creator, a woman who's worked since she was 14, who's loved and lost and learned that partnership isn't about love the way we were taught to imagine it. I could tell you I'm an Aquarius, seeing life through a different lens, forever torn between idealism and the weight of reality. I could tell you so many things about myself, my name, where I'm from, the pieces of my past, but none of it really answers the question, does it? Who am I? I could say I'm an artist or maybe just a content creator, trying to figure this all out on some moral compass I'm still calibrating. I could tell you about the countries in my blood, the silver spoon I've been trying to put back ever since life took it away. I can count the times I've moved, the friendships I lost, the numbers of ways life has made me feel unstable. But here's the truth that keeps finding me in these quiet moments. I don't know. Not really. And maybe that's okay. Because the people who fascinate me most aren't the ones with all the answers. They're the ones still asking the questions, still creating, still feeling something so deep we all recognize it, even if we can't name it. I'm trying to find a balance, a recovering people pleaser learning to hold two truths at once, that life can be brutal and beautiful, that I can hate the way it hurts me and still choose to appreciate it. To see people for who they are, not just the disappointments they bring. But how? When every new environment, every new connection risks another wound. I'm trying to find goodness in a world that keeps showing me its shadows, to live my purpose without making it all about me, while still honoring this messy, unique experience of being human, to look at the misery, the tragedy I don't understand, and somehow still see beauty in us, beauty in the broken places. But some nights I lay here and wonder, who am I to tell anyone else to cherish their life when I'm still learning to see the value in my own? Ever since I was little, I've just wanted to help, to fix something, to heal something. But life has a way of teaching you can't pour from an empty cup. So here I am, feeding myself first. Literally. New York Pizza counts as self-care too, right? But it's funny how the simplest moments, a perfect slice, a stranger's smile, can remind you of why you wanted to help in the first place. The world is broken, yes. But it's also this, messy, beautiful, worth showing up for. And maybe that's the first step to change anything, letting yourself be changed too. It's so surreal being here. I was 12, sitting in class when the towers fell, just a kid watching history break on a television screen, not understanding how to hold what I was seeing, not then, not now. This world, it keeps teaching me the same hard lesson. There is no why that makes sense of suffering. Only the choice to keep going, to look directly at the memorials life carves into us, the names, the dates, the absences, and still find reason to rebuild. Maybe that's why artists matter. The dreamers who take our collective wounds and shape them into something that makes us pause. Something that asks us to remember, but also to imagine, what if? I don't have answers, only this stubborn refusal to let the hardness win. To stand here, where the world ended for so many, and whisper, look how the light still finds us. So here's what I know today. I'm a work in progress, a Masonic of survival and surrender. And if you're watching this, feeling just as unsteady, just as unfinished, let's promise each other this. We don't have to have it all figured out to keep moving forward, to keep choosing beauty, even when the world tries to convince us otherwise. So sitting here right now, I realize that New York is not a real place. This is something that I've said multiple times up until this point. But I'm like chilling in Angelina Jolie's cafe that she redecorated, reinvented from Basquiat's studio. And all of a sudden, there's an artist here printing prints on anything for free, randomly. So it's just like perfect place, perfect time, always ending up in situations where everything is flowing together, especially from the first night of the premiere. Sitting there with people that, we didn't know each other, but we all came together and we all had connections, especially with Chicago. So it's really dope to be able to sit here and experience things that I typically won't experience when I'm in Chicago, which is really weird. Like, I love my city, but I think that stepping outside of my comfort zone has been healing, triggering, and eye-opening all at the same time. So I hope you guys are enjoying the vlog thus far, and I will see you guys when I hit my next spot. Let me tell you something about suffering. How it stitches us together even when we think it's tearing us apart. We all suffer differently. Your pain, my pain, the artist's pain, screaming from these pages long after he's gone. Some turn suffering into monuments. Others let it bury them. And most of us, we keep thinking, if I just earn enough, love enough, become enough, the hurt will stop. But the divine keeps whispering. Suffering doesn't end. It changes form. And that naive hope we clutch, that achievement will kill the ache, that's the lie that breaks us. A lot of us hide who we are, what we love, what we like to do. But we feel judged, even when no one's watching, even when no one cares. The irony, we walk through life feeling invisible, while being terrified everyone sees our flaws. Maybe because we've heard people tear others apart. Maybe because we do it to ourselves in the mirror. But here's the truth. I've had to learn the hard way. People don't care about your mistakes like you think. Even your deepest flaws, just background noise in their own story. And yet, we make life so heavy, turn simple things into suffering we didn't deserve to carry. They say you're a reflection of people, but I think the world's one cracked mirror. Every time I chase what looks like light, I end up in shadow. It's only when I stop, really stop, that what I needed finds me. I tell my clients, lean into the bad decisions. Dive headfirst into the mess. Their faces always look shocked. But I know the secret. You can't skip the part where you sit in the wreckage and finally see yourself. Most people run from that. They rather stay busy, stay numb. Here's what no one admits. That the hero you admire, they've got chapters they burn. The genius artist, their best work comes from failure. We're so afraid of being seen stumbling. But the truth, no one cares as much as you think. And that's the gift. When you stop giving your power to their imaginary judgments, you finally get to rest. You want to know who you are? Stop running from the mirror. I've had the gift of facing myself, not in some therapist's chair, but in the moments, feeling every trigger, every reaction, and choosing anyway. That's the brutal beauty. People don't care about your stumbles like you think. Your flaws, just background noise in their own drama. So why carry that weight? Alone isn't hell. It's where you finally meet the you that existed before the world handed you its script. No roles, no mask, just the weird, wired soul you've always been. This trip taught me the divine listens when you stop begging and start becoming. When you trade why me for show me. And this trip showed me something vital. When you stop giving your power to those imaginary judgments, you finally get to breathe. I rushed through experiences convinced that if I worked harder, did more, or became better, I would finally reach some imaginary finish line where the pain, the doubt, and the fear would all disappear. But the divine doesn't work like that. There is no perfect moment when everything suddenly makes sense. The magic isn't in reaching the destination. It's in who you become on the journey. It's in the moments when you slow down enough to hear your own thoughts. It's in learning to trust yourself, to embrace the unknown, and to understand that every setback, every pause is shaping you in ways you can't see yet. I used to think life was about getting somewhere. Now I realize it's about becoming someone. Someone who no longer shrinks for the comfort of others. Someone who stands fully in their power. That's why facing yourself matters. Not in some dramatic therapy breakthrough. Not in a single life-altering moment. But in the quiet, daily choices that slowly shape who you are. When you run a hot shower and let the steam soften more than just your skin, allowing the warmth to remind you that you are worthy of comfort. When you take the time to make yourself a meal, not just throwing something together to fill the emptiness, but actually preparing food with care, as if you were nurturing someone you deeply loved. When you iron your clothes for an event, not just for appearances, but because you take pride in the way you show up in this world. When you move through your skincare routine with intention, not rushing through it like a chore, but recognizing it as a ritual. One small act of devotion to yourself. When you brush your teeth and actually meet your own eyes in the mirror, resisting the urge to look away, to avoid, to disconnect. Because in those moments, you are not just existing. You are acknowledging yourself. These are the moments that change everything. Not because they're grand or groundbreaking, but because they are consistent. Because every small, quiet act of care is a reminder, I am here. I am worth the effort. I matter. Healing isn't just about what you uncover. It's about how you choose to show up for yourself again and again until that truth becomes undeniable. So here's my truth now. The world isn't against you. It's just waiting for you to show up as yourself. Fully, unapologetically, especially when you're alone. Some of my best work came when I stopped caring. Because at the end of the day, perfection is subjective. The moment you stop chasing some impossible standard and start honoring the reality of who you are, everything shifts. The pressure fades, the self-judgment quiets. You realize that the things you were once afraid of, the flaws, the imperfections, the way you don't quite fit, are the very things that make you irreplaceable. Have a moment to yourself, and then take up space. There is power in that pause, in the inhale before the exhale, and the way you collect yourself before stepping forward. Because confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from allowing yourself to be seen exactly as you are. And that's it, isn't it? The moment we release, when the fear of being misunderstood finally weighs less than the cost of hiding, that's when the magic rushes in. When you stop holding back, when you let yourself take up space you were always meant to fill, the world expands with you. These small daily choices aren't just routines. They are quiet acts of self-liberation, and that changes everything. Now, what about those of us who have people in our lives that don't believe in us? You know the ones. Overbearing, overprotective, so committed to keeping us safe that they accidentally keep us stagnant. They love us, sure, but their love comes with conditions, with ceilings, with these unspoken rules about how far we're allowed to go. And you gotta ask, are they the standard? The signpost that tells us where to stop pushing for the bright future we see so clearly? Or are they just another obstacle? One the universe drops right in the middle of our path to ask, how bad do you want this? What are you willing to become to get there? Here's the thing. It's easy to resent them, to feel like they're condemning us for just trying, just for daring to chase a life they are too afraid to imagine for themselves. But what if we flipped it? What if instead of fighting them, we found compassion for their fear? Not because they deserve it, but because we deserve the peace of not carrying their doubt like it's ours. We get so hung up on needing others to believe in us before we believe in ourselves. But their faith isn't our fuel. Your belief is the only thing that ever moved a dream from your mind into the world. And when you start standing in that, when you stop waiting for their approval and just go, that's when the shift happens. They may not admit it, but they'll see it. They'll feel it. I'm not saying it's easy. Hell no. If it were, everyone would do it. But that resistance, that's your clue. The bigger the doubt around you, the bigger the transformation ahead. Today was chaotic. What is going on, you guys? Hey, how you doing? This is the first time we get to sit down since I've been in New York, the big NYC, the Big Apple. I must say, this is a very intriguing place to be. I keep saying New York is not a real place, okay? So when I first got here, I landed in LaGuardia and I ended up taking a shuttle to Queens, and then I took transit to my first Airbnb. The thing that shocked me the most is how sweet people are here. Everyone has been so sweet to me. Like, I know that some people are working, but I've interrupted people that aren't working. I've talked to people on the street. I've talked to a lot of different people in a lot of different places. People are so kind here and truly willing to help. I think you'll be fine if you just have common sense. If people look like they're in a rush, get out their way. Be mindful if you're walking down the street, observing something, or on the train and you're trying to get on the train. You just got to do things to make sense. And I feel like that goes for every big city, because usually everything downtown is where people work. You know what I mean? So people are rushing and trying to get places. But other than that, I haven't experienced anything crazy in New York. I have seen people talking to themselves, but I mean, I'm used to that, so that's not really crazy. But the objective of this trip was to, one, see screenings from Craft and Release. So it is being hosted by Nika. Her work inspired me to think a little bit deeper and harder about how I do my own work and how I tell my own story. Really that's what it is. I want to focus more on storytelling, telling better stories, getting my point across in an efficient way, but also in a way that paints a picture without having to say too much. If you guys know me, you know I'm a professional yapper. It's not that I want to silence myself, but I just want to use my throat chakra energy better. I don't want to overuse it or underuse it. I just want to use it with purpose, and I want to be able to get my point across as efficiently as possible. But I went there to the first screening, and let me just say the whole story behind why I came to New York really feels divinely guided. So I know that this is going to be a part of my life that you guys are going to be able to see and experience that is going to unfold into something bigger. Not really sure exactly what that is yet, and we never really do, right? But I do know that I'm excited for it, because for the first time in my life, now that I'm being thrusted down a path, I feel like I'm actually ready for it. I'm ready to receive it. I'm ready to make the steps. I'm ready to do what's necessary without feeling like I'm pulling my own teeth out. You know what I mean? They screen about 9 short films from independent creators. Let me tell you something. These people are talented. When I tell you their work really makes you feel, it makes you think, and it's coming from a different perspective than traditional film comes from. I don't know if you guys ever been to like a film festival or anything like that. Not really sure how those go. Maybe I'll go to one this year as well. I don't know, YOLO. I want to say that I felt full. They filled a cup that I didn't know needed to be filled or replenished. I felt like I was watching a lot of films that had a lot of meaning, and it was more closer to my heart space in the sense of, it felt like it could have been me, it could have been my mom, it could have been my cousin, it could have been someone that I met at school. Like, these stories that they told were so intertwined with life. So it didn't feel like AI. It didn't feel like the internet and content creating to appease an algorithm. It really felt like we were just watching someone's actual story. It feels very different from cinema media. It feels different from commercial TV altogether, or commercial entertainment altogether, because I feel like it's very structured, very 1, 2, 3. There's something about it that seems fine-tuned for mass consumption, versus this was being created and for an audience that came together that was definitely going to take the content and really appreciate it for what it was. It was just phenomenal. So shout out to Nika and Glenn and Craft and Release. It was just something that was profound to me, because I feel like in my own city, I'm not well intertwined in any type of upcoming cinema, but I feel like the culture in Chicago sometimes, and it could just be my experience because of my own energy. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you know anything about the cinematography world, but I feel like the culture in Chicago is just get on just enough, or hustle. Like, we really have like a different type of hustler mentality. A lot of people that I've experienced in different cities, not to say that we don't have it in our city, like I don't ever want to put Chicago down. I love Chicago, and so many people love Chicago. I'm gonna kick it to you real, what I've experienced growing up there. I feel like a lot of people just want to make it just enough, and they don't ever push past. Like, if you stay in Chicago, you don't push past where you could really be. You know what I mean? You just kind of hit this glass ceiling, and then you kind of fade out in comfortability. And I don't really see a lot of people helping each other to come together like this, create something, and then put it out there, and get other people that are in love with whatever it is to come together and do that as well. Like I said, I could just be out of the loop, but this is a creator that I randomly found on YouTube, so I decided to just come out here and experience this whole bit. Now, it feels divinely guided for the simple fact that when I walked in, there was one seat like right near the aisle, so I didn't have to like say excuse me. And when I sat down, there was a young lady there that was by herself as well, and we exchanged some words, and we had laughs and looks and glances and stuff like that throughout each film. it felt like it was set up for me, if that makes any sense. Now, when we first got there, they handed out a bunch of cards that had a question on there about change and a number. And for some reason, when I got my card, I really felt like it was a card that was going to get called. I was hoping that I wasn't going to get called, but I kind of internally knew. You guys should know me, but if you don't know me and you're new here, I take in a lot of wisdom and a lot of information that has proven to me that it's worthy of paying some attention to it. I dabble in astrology, numerology, spirituality, all of the things. And that number added up to 5. I was kind of like, 5 equates change and other things, but definitely change. The last thing the old version of myself would want to do is get called up. Like I didn't want to be called up, but I didn't not want to be called up. I kind of just left it up to the divine to make things happen. You know what I mean? And I just understood that I was going to go with the flow. So when I got called up there, I was so nervous, and I don't know why I was that nervous. Logically, I didn't know anybody in the room, but typically I can hold my own. So it was just really weird that I didn't really know how to take it. I got asked my question first. I was too stunned to speak. I don't even really remember exactly what the question was, but I think it had something to do with, in a moment of change, when did you know you were successful? And I can't really remember what I said. Maybe they'll post the video somewhere and I can add it here. But I felt like I was just rambling. My voice was shaking. I was like, oh my God, I'm better than this. I started saying anything that came to mind. The things that I said was basically, well, I just flew in here. I'm from Chicago and I'm a mom, and I'm trying to figure out exactly, how I want to move through life. I think that's what I said. I have no idea. But I know I ended up saying, I'm here and I'm successful. So I guess you can say that you're successful wherever you are. Even now that gives me chills, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what I said. But I know that there were a lot of mms in the crowd. So people felt that. After all of the screenings were done, a lot of people came up to me because they were either from Chicago, went to school in Chicago, lived in Chicago, visited Chicago, loved Chicago, and I made a lot of connections there. And the young lady that sat next to me, she actually referred me to a restaurant here. So, I'm taking in meeting people. I'm taking in learning how to network, and just trying to catch a vibe and put myself out there. After that, I went straight to the house. I could not do anything else. The next day, I needed to check out of my first Airbnb. So there was a mix up, and it was all on me when I did my Airbnb, because I was going back and forth with myself about whether I was really going to come here or not. When I first looked to try to collect data and see how much everything was going to cost, and is it feasible? It doesn't make sense. Do I really want to go? Is this something that I want to do? What is my spirit telling me? I saw this Airbnb that I'm in first, and it was fully available for the whole time that I was going to be here. But I put it on the back burner. Again, I wasn't sure. We just went to Mexico. We just spent a lot of money on Mexico. We took the kids with us. We had a lot of stuff going on, and this was going to be like a week after our Mexico trip, or a week or two after our Mexico trip. So I was like, I don't know if it makes sense logically to do that. But I talked to my fiance about it, and he was like, yeah, you should go. Probably thinking that I wasn't gonna go now that I'm reflecting on it. And I was like, okay. So I bought the tickets to the event for both days. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and check the Airbnb and look for flights. And when I checked the Airbnb, this one was no longer available. So I went out, changed the dates, checked it again. It was still not available. I was like, oh my gosh. I started looking for another place, and I was like, dang, I can't really find anything that's really close where I can walk. I wanted to do a lot of walking. I didn't want to have to rely on transportation and spend even more money. So I was like, you know what? Look, I'm just going to go back and take this place off of my favorites, and it was available. So I booked it immediately, not paying attention to the dates. So literally the night before I was supposed to fly out, I'm chilling, editing our couples content, and my fiance was like, babe, are you packed yet? And And I was like, no, I'm not packed yet. I was like, I leave Thursday. I leave the 27th. And he was like, oh, okay. So I look at my phone like 10 minutes later, and I had an email from Nika saying, oh, see you guys tomorrow night. And I'm like, tomorrow night? What? So I had to backtrack and see if I booked my plane fare to leave the next day. And I did, but my Airbnb was for the 27th. So I went the night before, hectically, anxiously looking for an Airbnb, and I found it. And that was the one that you guys saw me check out of. So glory be to God on that one. Yeah, I just checked out, and I couldn't check into this one until like 4 o'clock. So if you travel, you already know they push the time back to 4 o'clock after COVID, and they never put it back. So I was like, let me take this time to explore. I came here first so that I could drop off all of my stuff. They have lockers. They are so accommodating here. They have lockers, a bathroom, a charging station, whatever you need, and you can go do your thing. So I ended up going to a pizza spot first, and they kind of remind me of Demo's Pizza in Chicago. Remember a long time ago when I did that vlog, you guys? Yeah. It reminds me of Demo's. I will say their pizza was really good. I kind of low-key think it's better than Demo's. So New York, you got a half a point up on us on that pizza, but I'm gonna find the best pizza spot and then I'm gonna get back to you. So calm down. After that, we went to the World Trade Center, and they have shops in that area as well, and I just could not resist. I had to go shopping in Sephora. I needed some setting spray that was travel size. I ran out a long time ago, so I just re-upped on that and got like a birthday thing that I never collected. So it was just like by chance that I ended up getting that. So shout out to me. Happy birthday to me again, Aquarius, even though I'm in Pisces season. I was looking for other spots that I really wanted to go to, and I found Angelina Jolie's cafe. So I went to Adler Jolie. It's really cute. It's cool. I got some tea, but as I was sitting there, I was like, wait, these people are like setting something up. So it happened to be a artist that came in, and his artwork was displayed all over the cafe in the back. And I was able to watch him do the screen print on everything, like t-shirts and bags. And I'm like, look at New York. So I'm talking to them about this artist and all of this stuff going on. Yo, let me tell you something. Like, I'm just in the right place at the right time all the time, except for when my GPS is trying to tell me where to go. I have been getting turned around and lost so many times, but it always puts me in a place where I'm like, oh, that's so nice. I got to come back here. Oh, that's nice too. I want to see that again, knowing damn well I might not have time to do that, but we will see. So after that, I thought about the place that the young lady that sat next to me at the screening told me about the night before, and I was like, you know what? She said it's a Thai place and it's really good. I'm gonna go check it out. I look it up. Tell me why it's around the corner. It's around the corner from the Angelina Jolie cafe. Baby, I went over there. So we slid through, and it was like a spicy crab soup stew type of vibe. Delicious, absolutely delicious. The crab was fresh, it was tender, it was just good. The chicken, phenomenal. And you know, it's so funny because I've been told many times by like Black peers, my African American peers, don't order chicken at these restaurants. Look, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. As long as I carry myself accordingly, I'm gonna do what I want to do. The chicken was good as hell. I'm so glad I didn't listen to y'all, because baby, the chicken was good. My mocktail was good. You guys know that I am trying to be clean this year in drinking. I don't think my liver can take any more. I don't think my kidneys can take anymore. I don't think my body can take anymore. And quite frankly, I don't feel like being peer pressure into drinking anymore, because it was something I never wanted to do from the get-go, even when I was younger, but it's something that I did anyway. That is the silliest thing I've ever done in my life. And it's one of those things where when my mom used to say, if your friends jump off the bridge, you're going to jump off too. I shouldn't have done that. Like, I wish I knew about mocktails a long time ago, because I would have definitely indulged in that. But the mocktail was phenomenal. Food, phenomenal. Service, phenomenal. But let me say this, I'm just going to be honest, because I'm very out and open when I film, and I typically ask places if it's okay for me to film. And when people see you pull out a camera, especially if you look put together, they might be very careful and they might be very nice to you because they don't know who you are. And then you're in New York on top of that. I don't know if the service was because I had my camera out or because of my personality or because that's just them, but I definitely refer that place. So if you guys are ever in NoHo, definitely check it out. It was a vibe. So we had to run back to the Airbnb because by that time it was time for me to check in. I took my shower, got ready, and tell me why. In the midst of was I rushing? Yeah, I was kind of rushing because I didn't put any effort into my makeup at all. And I hope you guys aren't judging me right now because, first of all, I'm not even a makeup guru girly. Your girl really don't know what she's doing. And I was rushing because I needed that shower to be a little bit eensy-weensy longer than 2 minutes, okay? Even though I already took in like 7 showers since I've been here already. It's ridiculous. I don't even know why I did that. But I just kind of feel like when you go outside, you smell like outside, and then you come inside and you can smell it on you and your clothes, and then you're going somewhere else. And I don't know. I just need to get the outside stink off of me. And in New York, sometimes it really be smelling. I've never smelled some of these smells in Chicago ever in my life. So I'm very paranoid. After that, I had another connection. One of the ladies that I met at the first screening, she extended an invite to an Apple event for an artist, P. Sims Dope. She was featured in New York Times, Complex, just to name a few. And her work is phenomenal. I believe she said she was from Virginia, so shout out to the DMV area on that. She was just talking about her journey in artwork and how she got to where she is and how she does her artwork, and baby girl was dropping some gems. She was really speaking to me in this moment of my life right now. You know, sometimes people talk and they talk about something that you can reflect on in your life, but she was hitting the points right now, you know what I mean? And it was just amazing. So I don't know, so much confirmation, so much divine guidance, so much love, so much energy. So yeah, man, like I was able to show up to the event, even though I showed up kind of late because I got turned around. I didn't even know where the train was. I left late. I broke my makeup that is so expensive. And I just bought that makeup, but it's so expensive. Yeah. So cleaning it up and all of that, like it was just a mess. But like I said, every time I get lost in New York, I'm like, oh, I want to come back here. I want to do this again. I want to do that again. I'm so glad that I pulled up on the lady that I met, Alicia, and I pulled up on an artist and I heard her story, and I was able to be around that environment once again. And that Apple store is eating our Apple store up. Like, Lord have mercy. Did you see that? Did you see that? It was cute, girl. Let me say something. New York is all over the place, but they got some gems. They got some gems. I will say it was a culture shock. I feel like you really need to know New York history in order to feel New York, because I'm so used to Chicago doing segregation in our city. Like, it's very segregated. We have downtown. Well, downtown is starting to go down ever since COVID and everybody started breaking all the windows out because they was pissed off. But before that, our downtown area was gorgeous, and you wouldn't really see graffiti like that on the buildings. Like, we're really good as a city of trying to keep our downtown pristine and as pretty as possible. But with New York, there will be a $50,000 looking store and then graffiti everywhere. Like, I never know where I am. I don't know if a street is sketchy or not because it all just looks sketchy. But it's so weird because I was telling my mom, I was like, I don't know about New York when I first landed. I was like, it's kind of ghetto here. It's ghetto. It's giving ghetto. And she was like, I don't know why you're like that because I love New York and I didn't raise you like that. And I was like, girl, as an adult, I need the aesthetics to be aestheticing everywhere. I need the whole picture to be put together. I need the look, the sound, the vibe, the vibration, the smell. I want everything to be pretty. In New York, I was not expecting this in the high end Manhattan, Soho. Yeah, I didn't think, it was going to be like that. But I'm starting to get used to it. Actually, it's giving it a certain edge, I guess. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it for real, but all I can say is where they lack an aesthetic for their buildings and the garbage and the smell sometimes, baby, they earn a lot of brownie points with the people, because the people will eat fashion up. And you guys know I'm not big on fashion, but I'm big on loving yourself. I'm big on getting up and looking like you give a shit about yourself. And that's something that I've noticed a lot of New Yorkers do, a lot more than Chicagoans, let's say, because I've gone from Queens to Brooklyn to Manhattan, and everywhere, every time I get on the train, I see somebody eating a fucking fit up. And I love to see it. It's like everybody is a main character. Not everybody, but most people, everybody just putting it on their main character. And I love to see it. Like, y'all eating it up. I love it. But yeah, that is my day, you guys. I went to the second screening. I saw more short films that were phenomenal, but I'm exhausted. So I might do a little masky mask. I might not, because I'm tired, but I know I am about to eat the rest of my food. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So I might link up with Alicia tomorrow. I don't know. And if she gives me permission, you guys will see her beautiful face. If not, then I don't know what we're going to get into. But I know I will be hitting up Brooklyn, baby. And then there is the closeout party for the event that I went to. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. All right. All right. Mwah. I used to sit and hope, pray, wish, dream about the life I wanted, about something amazing happening to me. But I never moved, never took the leap, never bet on myself. It felt like every time I did try, every time I stepped outside the lines just a little bit, life pushed me back down, like I was cursed, like I was trapped in some cycle I couldn't break. I thought if I worked hard enough, if I kept my head down, if I didn't ask for too much, maybe, just maybe, things would finally shift. But they didn't. Because life doesn't change when you're waiting for permission. It changes when you decide to see things differently. For so long, I thought God wasn't listening. I thought my prayers got lost somewhere between earth and heaven. Because every time I asked for something good, every time I begged for a break, it felt like life just hit back harder. One loss after another, one disappointment stacked on top of the next. And when you live like that long enough, you start believing maybe you don't deserve good things. Maybe you were built for suffering, but that was never true. I didn't understand how energy worked, how faith worked. I didn't realize that every single thing I experienced was a reflection of my inner world, that my fears, my doubts, my belief system, they were all shaping my reality. And as long as I believed life was hard, it was. But looking back now, I see it clearly. I wasn't unlucky. I wasn't cursed. I just had lessons to learn. I had to unlearn survival. I had to unlearn struggle. I had to stop moving like someone waiting for the worst to happen and start expecting life to surprise me in beautiful ways. And when I finally made that shift, when I stopped bracing for impact and started embracing the unknown, the world softened. The right people showed up. The right doors opened. And for the first time, I felt like I wasn't just existing in my life. Not only was I living in it, thriving in it. If life doesn't always give you what you want in a straight line, sometimes it reroutes you. Sometimes it throws detours that take you places you never expected, places you needed, even if you don't know it at the time. At first, that terrified me, but now I treat it like a game. Show me what this world has to offer. Surprise me. Wow me. Give me something to believe in. And you know what? It always does. Because life isn't out to get me. It's actually responding to me. And that's what most people don't understand. The world doesn't just happen to you. You meet the version of it that reflects who you are. I've met people with pasts so dark you'd think I wouldn't feel safe around them. But sometimes, those are the safest people I've ever known. Because I don't look at people for who they used to be. I see them for who they are now. And when they walk alongside me, when they see how doors open, how the world shifts, they start to wonder, why does life treat her differently? Why does the divine listen to her? What makes her special? And the answer is simple. I woke up. I stopped believing life was against me. I stopped believing I had to struggle. I stopped resisting the lessons and started embracing them. And the moment I did, everything changed. This trip wasn't just about the places that I went, the people I met, or the exclusive moments I got to experience. It changed something in me. It shifted my vibration. It introduced me to a version of myself I hadn't met before. And for that, I'm grateful. Grateful for the connections, for the open doors, for the beauty that showed up in ways I didn't expect. Because that's the thing. The magic happens when you stop shrinking, when you stop letting fear dictate your steps, when you release, when the fear of being misunderstood finally weighs less than the cost of hiding. That's when magic rushes in. And when it does, you realize something. Things don't happen on your timeline. They happen when you're ready. And there's no rush, no deadline, no race. So the question is, are you ready to step into your divine timing? To manifest without fear? To celebrate who you're becoming? I hope so. Because if you're here, if you're aligned with me in this moment, then trust me, you're already on your way to being blessed beyond your wildest dreams. And as I continue to discover who I truly am, I know this journey of self-discovery doesn't end here. It evolves with every step, every detour, and every unexpected turn. There's more to learn, more to become, and I'm excited for what lies ahead. Because one thing I know for sure, this journey of self-discovery doesn't stop here. It's just getting started. And with every step I take, with every new place I explore, every experience that reshapes me, I uncover more. More of who I am, more of who I'm meant to be. And I know one thing's for sure. The best is still unfolding. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this resonates, join me for more raw storytelling in my digital diary playlist, or dive deeper in my We're Evolving series. Wherever you are, keep becoming.